Off that, one thing I noticed in the last story that I wrote, and it's sort of a hot topic nationally now, the question of unions, raises for unions. It said in the budget that there's $340,000 in wage increases.
Right.
So does that mean that the teachers union is getting a raise in this budget?
Yes. Now, the teachers union is about a third of the way through a 3-year contract. They took a zero in the current school year. It's important for people to know that. Teachers did not get a raise. They didn't get a step increase or a general wage increase of any kind in the current year. I think it's unrealistic to expect that people will go year after year without getting a raise, but they took a zero in the current year. Next year, the teachers' contract calls for spending of about 2.5% additional money on payroll, and then the third and final year of the contract about 2.8%.
Okay.
So there are modest increases, but if you take that over a 3-year period, I think it's reasonable, and including the zero. Next year, our principals will not get a raise. They're going to work hard and they're going to do their jobs, but they're not going to see an increase.
And they're going to be in the first year of a contract
They will be
that was
in
just approved?
the first year of a new 3-year contract just approved with the administrators group. So I think the unions and certainly the school board and I are hearing these cries of people have to sacrifice. But I think it's also important that the community be prepared to sacrifice for its kids and for its school system. If my budget proposal were to be approved, and I don't expect it to be approved as presented, but just hypothetically, if we had about a $19 million school budget here, the increase would hit the typical homeowner to the tune of about $25 a month. The typical home in Derby is assessed, at least it was last year, at about $200,000. I doubt that that's gone up very much in the interim, and the increase that I was proposing would be less than a $2 mil increase. So on a typical home, less than a $2 mil increase, you're talking about less than $300 a year, or about $25 a month. When you put that over against the kind of losses that we will sustain, there's been some talk around the city of how about a zero increase? Everybody should take a zero. That sounds nice. It's very attractive politically and economically to say let's not spend any more money. But if you recognize that over $900,000 of the increase that I've requested are connected to contracts, it's benefits that we're required to provide, it's wages, in some cases for people that haven't had a raise for a year, it's utilities, it's transportation, it's special ed tuition, all things that either by law or contract we must do. About the only way you can manage those costs is to lay people off, and I'm already doing that. So when you put those kinds of losses, and plus our need to recover from the losses that we've suffered, we still have no librarians, we still have no curriculum or professional development leadership to speak of. When you put all that up against $25 a month, I think that's a reasonable request. It's nobody wants to hear about tax increases, but it's modest, it's affordable. We have about a 97% tax collection rate in this town. That means that as aggravating as it is to pay taxes, and as tough as the times are, people in Derby are paying their taxes, and we appreciate that. And I'm in a position of having to ask for a little bit more so that we can start to rebuild the losses that we've suffered here. And if we're not willing to do that, then I think we have to confront the fact that maybe we need to look at consolidating or regionalizing, and not just simply muddling along every year, each year getting a few more dollars that don't even pay the light bill, and constantly eroding service. That's not a good path for the city over the long term.